A game-changing rumor for XRP that you need to hear about. We'll talk price at the end. Solana, $200 back in the cards. Are we going down to a hundo? BTC, it's all about the inflows and outflows. Crypto roundtable with the SEC and
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
green on the screen with green on my screen. That's right, we're keeping the rally going all the way through Easter. But before we get into that, your comments come first because you, the viewer, matter most. Mega XRP rumor that you need to hear. Doran Butler says winning should have countersuited for legal expenses, defamation, and lost earnings. How did Ripple win what? Yeah, people out there are saying that Ripple won the lawsuit. Yeah, they still had to pay $50 million. Even if they paid an XRP, paying a lawsuit is not winning. Sebastian Keene says, I wake up and look forward to the Klaus videos. I like that. Little morning coffee with Klaus. James Isengard dropping support on the channel. Thank you, James. And thank you to everyone that dropped support on the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks. Klaus, it's going all the time high by the end of this month and all the time high for H-bar, hodling to the end. I love the optimism, James. That's why I got my green lights on in the background. I don't want to put the blue on even though it looks cooler. I want green. Easter green. Bitcoin sitting at 84,732. I couldn't say that right. ETH 1629 till at 130. We're going to talk about it quite a bit here. XP at 213 while BNB's at 586. ADA at 63.5 while TRX is at, no, I'm not going to talk about it. SWI at 219 while XLM's at 23.8. Solana showdown. Will Sol burst past the 133 or slide to 120 this week? I want to highlight this because Sol has been one of those projects out there that has had several things hanging over its head. Remember when the FTX thing happened? And we found out that FTX was heavily invested to Sol, and players, including myself, were like, yo, Sol is going to run into some big problems because there's going to be a bunch of liquidations. And then they did all the auctions. Well, we saw that Sol has had some problems trying to gain its action back. And in fact, we saw this move, this last, year's move, right? Double pumps up to 250, couldn't hold those pumps. Now we're back up to 130. Sol has struggled to maintain that momentum. And I want to highlight that because even though we've got the ETF talks, we've got the good volume, Sol has struggled, everyone. And this is the 1 year chart for Sol up on the screen. Look at that. Double pumperoni to 250. Haven't been able to hold those gains. Heavily erased them. So yeah, there's troubles all over the cryptoverse, but Sol right now struggling at the 130 space. 250 seems like a lifetime away. Oh, execs hanging out with the SEC. They got wish lists. That's right, there was a crypto roundtable meeting. Everything you see article-wise, it's linked in the description below. Listen to some of these wish lists. And since I'm Santa Claus, and you should probably hit that subscribe button and notification bell down below, I'm pretty good at reading wish lists, so let me share with some of them that are proposed here. One of them I think you're going to like. Oh, yeah, you're going to like. NYSE Chief Product Officer John Herrick had a general ask. Precision on the problems to solve, rather than starting with the solution, then searching for issues and cleared up. Agreed. Texture Capital CEO Richard Johnson said, the goal should be getting to a point where we use blockchain as the official record of ownership of securities. Ooh, I like that. We could use smart contracts for settlement and use stablecoins, tokenized treasuries for the cash legs. Oh, okay. Coinbase's Gregory Tusser said, hey, we are asking for a holistic and integrated market structure that allows securities and commodities to trade side by side. I've got another one for you. Some panelists, and this is what you're going to like, went a step further with Johnson and Irvin Finance co-founder Dave Lauer saying the SEC and CFTC should merge. Ooh, spicy takes, everyone. And there's actually a really good thread on this. It's found on Twitter. My Twitter information is also linked down below. I've been on Twitter recently. I have been a little bit naughty. I've had to verify a few things every morning when I wake up, and it's probably because people are reporting me for being naughty. That's okay. I'll go with it. The tweet is basically about going for what these roundtables are all about. Listen for this. Striving for the best execution is right, but impossible if you're only looking at U.S. markets. If you want to be competitive on a global scale, what is our strategy? It does make sense to see if we can have a regulation, reciprocity with other jurisdictions around the world. People care about counterparty risk. And I'm highlighting this because crypto is global. So remember when the SEC was doing their whole regulation by enforcement? They were affecting the prices globally by applying their rules to crypto, not seeing that the rest of the world was looking at things very differently. Yeah, pretty cool stuff here. And look, I even got it from the SEC. Reminder, our second crypto roundtable regulation is today at 1 p.m. We'll be streaming live on our website. Pretty cool stuff, and I'm sharing it. BTC accounts for 94% of last week's 795 million crypto fund outflows. So you think Solana's having a bad week. You think other players are having a bad. BTC is the reason for most of the bleeding. CoinShares figures indicate that funds specific to BTC saw the most outflows, 751 to be exact. Whoa, that's rough. The persistent negative sentiment since early February has resulted in cumulative outflows reaching 7.2 billion. This has nearly eliminated all the inflows recorded since the beginning of 2025. Current year-to-date inflows stand at just 165 million. So, even on the institutional end, BTC is struggling. So is Solana, and so is what, everyone? So is Ethereum. And so I showed you the Solana chart, right? Where Solana now has twice tried to hold that 250, struggling to find support. In fact, the support that Solana has right now, below where it was for the November Pumperoni. You look at XRP. Where is XRP getting its support? Let's go to the 1 year chart. Way above where it was for the November Pumperoni. So see what I'm saying? Crypto's got very different stories. Now let's talk specifically XRP, big rumor. XRP and Swift partnership rumor. Oh, this all has to do with Hidden Road. Okay, not confirmed. Rumor zone, wee woo, Patrick. Although Ripple has successfully integrated its network with several major banking partners for cross-border payments, the Swift rumors are currently more based on speculation rather than facts. Yet, if it pans out, the collaboration would be a major achievement for blockchain and TradeFi integration. After the SEC signaled its dismissal of a long-running lawsuit against Ripple, the company ramped up its goal of integrating its proprietary blockchain tech across TradeFi institutions. And with them purchasing Hidden Road for $1.25 billion, now players are like, yo, what the hell is going on? And with Ripple launching its own stablecoin, RLUSD, players are like, yo, what is really going on? Especially since that stablecoin is getting a lot of launch action on the Ethereum mainnet. That's what they said. In recent weeks, several influential videos have pointed to a possible announcement from Swift. It could be the official confirmation that XRP through Ripple will become part of Swift's global payment infrastructure, used by over 11,000 financial institutions worldwide. This coming from crypto influencer John Squire. Now, do I believe this? Look, we are deep into the rumor zone. And if anything official breaks, you know I will share it with you because everything is linked down below that you see here. I look for the official news. But I got to share the rumors with you because sometimes these rumors prove to be true, right? So that's why I got to share with you even the juicy rumors. Now let's go to XRP. Volume 3.43 billion. I shared with you how different the 1 year chart for XRP looks compared to the 1 year chart for Solana. Where Solana had that double top right here at 250 and couldn't hold it, XRP has found the constant support at the $2 mark. Could we hold 3? No, but we're darn good at holding frickin' 2. And you know what? We'll take that right now, won't we? Because I bet you if you were a Solana holder, you would look at this and be like, gosh, we wish we could hold 175, 180, 200. Hell yeah, you would. And these charts look very different. Now watch what happens. Let's do this, because we talked about Solana earlier. Let's compare XRP with Solana over that time, and look what happens. XRP in the blue, Solana in the salmon color. Look at this, blowing the doors off of Sol for the year. So yeah, there's definitely some market separation here. The reason you're not seeing it as much is because the time frames are very deceptive here. Some of these plays are happening very dramatically, like the November pump, right? Definitely benefited XRP and some of the other alts, but it did not really benefit Sol. Why? Because Sol has eroded those November pumps and then some. Yeah, gone below the November juicy pumperoni action. So with XRP is holding its gains. Now let's go to those candlesticks, okay? Let's go to them, and let's look at the 15-minute, all right? The reason I want to look at the 15-minute, I want to show you where my alerts are. I am right now at 205 on the low. Why? Because I want to snipe this one right here. And I'm right now at 220 on the high. The reason I'm at 220 on the high is because we've had 2 attempts right here. 1, 2 right here at 218, and we've been pushed back. So I want to see if we break them and what kind of news breaks it. Now, as the week goes on, I'm expecting less and less volatility, all right? But I'm thinking these next few days, these are the days we have to pay attention to. Swift rumors. I've been seeing everything about the 15th. I've been seeing stuff about the 18th. I've also been seeing stuff about next week, I think like the 21st and the 23rd. So we've got a bunch of wild dates being thrown out there. Again, they are just rumors, all right? Like I said, once confirmed, I will share stuff with you as soon as possible, so hit that notification bell. But right now, we're going to take the volume, we're going to take the price action, and we're going to keep the green background going. Why? Because we want more green up on the screen. And if that Swift rumor to be true, whoa, would that be wild, game-changing news. But we also heard about the $40,000 buyback and the backed by gold stuff. So look, this is going to stay in the rumor bin until we get some confirmation. Now, that being said, XRP is holding its price. That is not a rumor. That is confirmed. Massive amounts of support around that $2 range. Sol support hasn't been there. In fact, I can remember vividly hanging out in Twitter, DGen World, seeing everyone talk about Sol to 300, Sol to 4, Sol to 500, and here we are talking about Sol trying to get support at 130 and maybe eyeing 140 if we can garner that 130 support. Yeah, 300, 400, 500, that is now lifetimes away for Sol. So the market is definitely doing its own thing. And we're definitely seeing separation since the November election hype. We're seeing BTC doing its own thing. We're definitely seeing XRP doing its own thing. HBAR and XLM have been very quiet since the initial pumperoni with the election. And you know what? I'm cool with all of that because we're seeing differences appear in the market, and that's keeping things excited. And we're not just trading like one big blob with Bitcoin. We're each doing our own thing, and that's what we wanted. That's the maturity of the market. Now, that being said, we all know that if Bitcoin wants to tank 10% tomorrow, we're all going down with it. But if Bitcoin wants to pumperoni 10%, we're all going to go with it too. That's why I've got Rally Green in the background. Yeah, it's kind of like Augusta Green, but this is Klaus's Rally Green right here. Why? Because I want Rally Green going into Easter, because I know Easter weekend is going to be a low volume, and I just don't want anything bad to happen. I really, really want good stuff. And you know what? The good stuff, even if it's minor good stuff, like us holding 215 through Easter, I'll be happy with that. Because then you know what? A few weeks later, we start talking about stablecoin regs going live, and we start talking about market regs like the greater crypto market regs going, and then we start talking about specific crypto reg, and then we start talking about rate cuts, and you see what I'm saying? We'll have a lot of juicy action happening. So stay tuned, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out, hit the subscribe button again so you don't miss out, and drop a like if you like what you saw, and choo-choo what? Well, you know the deal. Choo-choo bitches.